may be trouble ahead. That's right. Welcome back to the BoomBastiCAST with myself, Machu, and my brother from another mother, Alexander. How you doing over there, you big
I'm
hands?
doing good. I'm doing good. I don't know about you, but I feel in a musical mood. How about you?
Well, it's after 8, so the guest must be great, if you know what I mean. You know, if you didn't see the title of the episode, we have the fucking incredibly awesome, super talented, super nice guy, worldwide star Taco with us this evening, and I'm super excited to get this in there. You know what I mean? I've been telling a few people, we try and keep them secret. Our guests, secret on the lowdown. But I told a couple people about who we were getting down with this weekend, and they were like excited and they can't wait to hear the episode. And I love that. Taco, man, putting on the Ritz. I heard that for the first time, and that changed my life. Like I've said 100 times in this episode, put it in heavy rotation. Taco is a heavy rotation in the Fisher household. You know what I mean? The house that Boombastic built, it is in heavy rotation. Alex, where does Taco fit in your life? And we're talking about the musician, the musical artist. We're not talking about
Yeah.
food.
I have to admit, other than putting on the Ritz, that was the first thing that I really knew from him, and I really liked it. I always loved the song, and his way of doing it, I thought was really catchy and was a lot of fun. Of course, when I heard that we were going to be interviewing, I did a deep dive,
Yeah,
and man, his wealth of music is mind blowing.
yeah,
And as we'll probably be getting into it, is he doesn't stay with one genre. A lot of artists get stuck in one genre, whether it's placed on by the label that they're working for, or whether it's the only thing that they do or want to do.
yeah.
But Taco jumps from different genres, and he blows you out of the water with each one. Um, there's not a dull song he sings, and when you listen to it, it's infectious.
It is.
It's music that makes you feel good, and especially with trying times that you have to deal with in this thing we call life. That it's good to be able to put on music that just makes you smile.
I agree 120%, my friend. You know what I mean? And that's what
Okay.
we're about to pop into today. So, without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time on the BoomBastic cast, we welcome the great, the powerful Taco.
Oh,
Taco, welcome to the show, the BoomBastic cast. You know what I mean? This is an absolute honor and a privilege to have you on this show. I gotta say, me and Alex have been fans for a long time. You know, the music is so great, man. We're always trying to turn people on to it. We're telling you, would you like the films and stuff? And the music's perfect for movies. There should be more taco music in movies. That's what I'm saying. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
wonderful. Well, I first of all, great to meet you too. Hi, Matthew. Hi, Alex.
How you doing?
Thank you for inviting me to your show. And yeah, it's been an honor. I often get phone calls from my publishing company saying they want my songs for movies, and one of the last ones was The Call with Haley Berry,
Yeah.
and that was a nice little cameo spot.
Yeah, that's cool. Like I always love it. Classic jams. I remember putting on the Ritz. We're gonna start from the beginning, but I mean that was like hearing that song was like life changing, and like I all it's on heavy rotation always. I love it. Classic, classic. Just had a shared anniversary, I believe. Did the 40th, right? Came up on the
Yeah,
40th of
yeah.
After Eight.
We're celebrating 40 years of After Eight, and putting on the Ritz this year. So my company Aviator is putting out all kinds of bonus material, especially this year, of course, and it's going to end with a great big bang surprise when it's over.
I like it. I like
Nice.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of you guys are remastering and doing all types of really cool stuff. Everybody get out there and check that.
Yeah, it's wonderful. If you go to the YouTube channel, this new company I signed up with has taken so much, yeah, what do you call that? They put so much input into this, digitalizing all the songs I've ever recorded, even demo tapes from way back when. I went to the
Yeah.
vault, got them all up, dusted off the
Yeah.
little cassettes, and they've really done wonders. And it's so much fun. I mean, there's one example I did live in Japan, and I thought it was lost forever, but it was on cassette.
Yeah.
But it was already hanging out of it, and
Yeah.
spaghetti. Um, I mean, the technical team, they did a wonder. It's a miracle. It's a miracle job that what they did. They got the whole show remastered and everything from that little tape. So yeah,
I love
thank
it.
God.
Cassette was like that when I was turning teenager. Cassette was like the thing, and when I think every now and then I hear stories of people finding just a cassette and like rebuilding, I always go, "Wow, there must have been so much work that had to go into like remastering a cassette," because it's kind of like just you know what I mean? It's not quite the reels of yesterday, you know?
To me, it's miraculous what these
Yeah,
guys. It's because the quality is, it sucks. And I mean, even when we were recording back in the 80s, we had nothing digital. We had these huge tape rolls.
yeah,
Many of the times, you'd have to cut right into the song,
yeah,
to get overdubs done.
yeah.
And it would always be, oh, please, Lord, please let the engineer do a good job.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was like an operation back then,
Yeah.
So
I mean, we're talking about technology before we popped on, and I mean, yeah, you talk about those big reels when you get your masters. It was just like,
yeah.
and nowadays it's like a little key, the size of a key. Your whole catalog could fit onto a key, you know?
Yeah, it's incredible, And then when the first record was pressed, everybody was listening in, of course, and too much bass, nah, that's too much high, and and they and it would take some time before you had the right pressing,
Yeah,
and very exciting days. Yeah.
it is
Everything was more
exciting.
relaxed, slower, and
What's your, because we have that indie film sense that we're talking about, and like the film world, and you've got some film world stuff we'll talk to, but like even on the level of that, like we take all the films that we grew up with loving, and it's like the printing on film and cutting up the film and developing, and it's so heavy, so much stuff nowadays. You can do it on your phone. It's like, how do you feel? Same thing with music. How do you feel about that jump? You know what I mean?
well, the jump is incredible because you get so much work done in a much shorter time.
Yeah,
And you knew back then if you're going to start a project and going on any kind of endeavor, it's going to take time.
yeah,
And which didn't shock me at all because I come from the theater, and in the theater you always need time.
yeah,
You
yeah,
come in the morning at 9 and you don't know when your rehearsal is going to be, so you're there until the late afternoon, and so you learn to be very patient, and
right.
when it says okay, you're on, bam, you got to be there.
Yeah,
So that was a very good school, and now it's just wonderful. If I go in the studio and I compose with my friend, uh, all we do is then we pick out all the goodies really fast, and yeah, you get a lot of work done in one day.
yeah. I know the arts are, you're like heavy in the arts completely in multiple different avenues. Which kind of was like your first artistic love? Was it music or was it like the theatrics?
Well, I guess it started with theatrics because I had the privilege of going to the American schools, these international schools of America, ever since I was 8 years old. And so I got into this whole American system where the music program was very dominant. So we do a musical every year. I was in the school choir, and of course, by the time I got to high school, I was totally into the American Songbook because we'd sing it. We did everything from the Fantastics to Fiddler on the Roof,
Yeah.
Carousel.
Yeah.
So I was accustomed to doing stage work
Yeah.
at school, and that was a very good basis for later on. And then I went to acting school when I came to Germany, and to make money so I could pay for my acting school, I went to the theater, the German theater, and I started as an extra, and then I was in that system. And we have a wonderful system in Germany. It's this repertoire theater thing, where you are part of a theater company, and you play different plays every night, and everything from Shakespeare, Goethe, Schiller, to musicals like Chicago or Sweet Charity.
Yep.
What I was involved in there. So I learned everything at the theater, acting school and theater.
Alex he's the actor of the group of us two, and he was a big theater guy. He did some theater in high school, I know.
Yeah. I mean, I've always been a big fan of theater. I mean, Guys and Dolls was the first one I did. And I gotta say, it's great when, for example, watching Putting on the Ritz, that you did your music video. I really loved all the visuals in there, and the little tap dancing sequence I loved. Um, the question I have about that is, when you were putting the music video together, what was, I mean, there's a lot of different things that was going on. That what were you trying to get across with the song and also the music video? Because there's a lot of different things that you can pull from it, with the vagabonds in the beginning, and more of the those dressed up with the face paint. And I was always curious what was going through your mind when you were creating that.
Well, you have to understand, I was on tour, and when you have a song that's out in over 45 countries, charting, back in those days, we didn't have videos. Yeah. So we got to a point where the record company said, we need a video now. We can't, because I was jetting across the globe doing television shows. Mm-hmm. And then they found a company in Brussels, Belgium, to tape it. And I was just flown in. I met the director, and he said, this is my concept. You're going to be king of the beggars. And he found a location to film it. That was an old department store that was full of debris, and it was about to be torn down.
Yeah.
And so you come there, and you have 48 hours, not anymore, because I had to fly away again. So we had to really sit and brainstorm really fast his ideas. He just had the idea, okay, I want you amongst beggars, because he was Belgian, and he thought it was all about high society, and wanted this political thing, where you got two sides of society. And so I could relate to that. I said, okay, yeah, that's a crazy idea. Me as king of beggars, okay. And then for the tap dancing, I had to do the choreography on the spur of the moment. Yeah. And so I came up with this Bob Fosse thing, where you go in slow motion and
Yeah.
have other dancers going by. And but when I met the dancers, they were semi-professional. I think they were just amateurs.
Mm.
To be very honest, not very glamorous looking or in any way where I would say, hey, wow, they look like real, dancers. I had that privilege much later with like the golden, that's all the gold girls. And so on the spur of the moment, I came up with it. Hey, we could do this Al Jolson thing. Give give these girls the makeup.
Yeah.
Then you got another link back to the 20s
Yeah.
when people of color were not allowed in the movies.
Yeah.
And and we got all their faces looking the same.
Yeah.
So there was absolutely no idea about black facing back at that time. It was
Right.
really an homage to Al Jolson, the jazz singer, that famous movie. That's all I thought about. So, wait, get all these elements into it.
Yeah.
And when it came to the ending, where I do the Alexander's Ragtime Band, or I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. That you get the slow and the old guys.
Yeah.
And so, but this was all spontaneous. It was all on the spur of the moment.
Yeah.
And I think a very cool video came out of that.
I love the video. I know it. I know it did catch some flack for that, the Al Jolson deal, but it's like I think they just try and go at anything like that nowadays.
I got so much hell for that, but
Yeah.
much later, not in the 80s, much
Right.
later. And yeah, what can I say? People are so sensitive nowadays.
Modern problems.
You have to really watch out what you say, what you do, and I was so sick of all these racist comments because I am the last human being on this planet that is racist. I mean, I'm half Indonesian, half Jewish, half Dutch, half French, blah blah blah. And I would have thought, the United States, which is a country of immigrants, wouldn't be that touchy, And I would have loved to scream out to all of them, hey, this is your history.
Right.
I know it's not perfect. I mean, who has a perfect history?
Right.
But okay, so we took it down and
some cutting, I think, edited some stuff up. You got us,
So
I hold it close to my heart.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Exactly.
I always took like the the metaphoric of like almost like even though you have money, you're not quite, you're not great because you have money. It's kind of showed the flaws a little bit in like, I think that's kind of the thing I took from the music video. You know what I mean?
Yeah, everybody, interprets something different in it, and I kind of like, I like the idea of these contrasts. I try to look at life as not black and white, but a lot of shades of gray.
Yeah. Well, that's the sign of great art, is when like people can look at it and see different things. You know what I mean? It's definitely.
Yeah, it's just open up the horizons, and
I think when you're dealing with art, if it doesn't have a strong effect, whether it's positive, whether it's negative, whether it's kind of in the middle, I mean, if it gives you a strong feeling one way or the other, I believe it's done its job. I mean, unfortunately nowadays everyone wants to do creative and artistic things which don't stretch or try to say anything and all that, and everyone's happy with it. In my opinion, isn't really art. It's just placating. And yeah, I mean, like I said, I really think I I understand people's, might have had issues with it. I thought it was well put together. I thought it really had a cool message. And you know, as you said, unfortunately, people's going to cause problems when there's no need. I mean, it was a very artistic and for the time, really great music video.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I still love it.
Yeah, it's a wonderful company, and like I said, all my life, you know, I've been thrown into different situations where you just have to, you know, either go with the flow or you know, always try to bring in your own ideas and elements. You know, you do these television shows and they've built sets for you, and you got to work with it.
Yeah.
You don't have time, and the least arrogance to say, no, I'm not going to perform over here. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
So you always have to work with what you got.
Yeah.
And I guess that is the art, you know. Like for instance, when I was invited to do Solid Gold, uh, they hadn't seen the video or anything. They thought, oh, here's this guy, you know. We need to make a big, elegant setting.
Yeah.
Girls in white tuxedos and the staircase and all that. So you don't have any time, you know, to say, no, I don't like, I want candelabras or I want debris in front of the staircase, you know, so, you know, to get some kind of a contrast. No, you work with what you got and say, okay, you want the elegant show number, and that's how you do it, you know. And, yeah, you don't always have the time to think, you know, and to really that time you have in the studio when you're creating your music. But when you go out, yeah, you're thrown into all kinds of sets around the world. For instance, in Italy, uh, it was a local show. You know, I was there, and then all of a sudden a door opens. I didn't know where I was, and then I had to go down this mega staircase. I did my Ritz, and then all of a sudden this Italian moderator comes on. I want to set a taco. He's talking to me, and I don't speak a word of Italian.
Yeah.
And then he comes with some really ugly looking sweater because that was sponsored by Luigi Sweater Shop. I don't know. And here I am in my tuxedo. And I have to try, and he tries to put this sweater on me, and I'm going, oh God, these pictures are going to be terrible, you know. But you have to go with the flow in that moment, you know, because that shop was a sponsor of that television program, you know, because every little town has a television.
Now the real question is, did you keep the sweater?
Yes, I got to take it home, and it was wonderful in the garden. I did a lot of garden work with it.
Hey, at least you got good use out of it. That's all that matters, right?
Yeah,
I've never thought of that element, but it does make sense. Like if you're touring around all these different countries, if you don't speak their language and they start asking you questions, I mean, you just kind of smile and do quick, yep, no answers type deal.
Yeah, I mean, okay. When I went to Japan, I mean, taco in Japan is octopus. So the Japanese cover of Puttin on the Ritz is me entwined in tentacles. They even have a taco shrine where they worship taco.
Nice.
So the first thing they did when I went there was take me to a taco shrine, and here I was on my knees in front of a shrine, you know, praying to a god I had never heard of, the taco god, and hoping that my record would, you know, be a success in Japan. And in every single TV show, they made me try all these different octopus dishes, and now that was very hard to take. You know, you know, your dimples up and go, yes, delicious. Oh, get me out of here. And
I've had octopus before too, and you know, It's an acquired taste for sure.
Well, the real question is, were the octopus dead or alive? I know that there's a scene where they eat the octopus alive. I
Yeah,
saw a
no
video.
way.
It was kind of unnerving.
No
I'm
way.
hoping you didn't have to eat it while it was alive. That's all I'm saying.
No. Listen, I always say, I'll try anything one time,
Yeah.
but no, live octopus, I don't think I could have swallowed that.
I want to pop back in the theater real quick. I know that you directed and choreographed Night Child, the musical.
Yeah.
What did you think stepping into the director? Was that the first time stepping into directorial shoes?
Yes, and see, the director got sick, and this show had to be put on.
Yeah.
So I took over from there because I was already doing the choreography for all the actors, and yeah, it was of course, everything's exciting when you do for the first time.
Yeah.
And I think that living in general is a big jump, a big splash into cold water.
Yeah.
If you're afraid, forget it. You're going to be at the edge, and other people will take over. But I think it's very challenging, to just jump in the water, do it. I mean, in the end, what can you lose?
Right.
Um,
It's true. Yeah, theater, like I said, we do the films, you get the takes and stuff like that, then you edit it out. But theater has got to be more nerve-wracking because it's live, it's there. You can prepare, but once the clock starts in that moment, you got to follow it out like to the T. You know what I mean?
but the good thing is, okay, here, especially in Germany, but I think even in the States, because you try out your shows in the country before it hits Broadway.
Yeah.
But in Germany, we also, you still work on the shows. Like premiere is always very nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
And as the show moves along, you finally, you feel much more comfortable with the part, and you can try certain things out. And actually, the show gets better, with time. There's no show that's finished on premiere night. 99% is maybe finished, but you go on from there, and that's the nice thing about theater. You can always work on it again.
Yeah.
If you do things on film, and they edit it, that's it.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, I mean, theater is a very learning experience because, as you said, that you do it on premiere and then on closing, it's if you do it right, it's a very different. It's very different because you learn to work and try different things, and sometimes there's a happy accident, and you're able to work with it.
Yeah. That's what I've always loved about theater. You always get a chance to be better.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know yourself. It's the same in life. You come into a situation and it doesn't feel right, and you kind of wish, oh God, can I please come through the door again? Can we start from scratch?
Yeah.
And in theater, that's a nice thing. If you blew something, or you yourself know the very first, I blew it, and
Yeah.
and it's nice to have a second chance, and that's the cool thing about theater.
Yeah. I mean, it was funny because I did theater early on, and I remember I did one production where my character had a lot of lines with another character, but the actor playing the other character couldn't remember any of his lines. So I literally learned my lines, his lines, and I mean there's a whole section that literally we only ran for like 2 weeks, okay? And there was a whole section he kept on, messing up. So we ended up skipping a whole kind of needless section, but kept the thing going. And on the last night, the very last night, was the first time he said that line that we needed to actually bring in. And so after he said it, we were like, shit, now we have to remember what we've been skipping all this time. So we just kept on going. And yeah, it was also a great experience for me with improv because there was a lot. I mean, other times someone either forget a line or they went early with the line, so I had to then like, okay, how do I get the point across, modifying it slightly but yet keep everything going. So I mean, and going with, for example, you showing up 48 hours doing putting on the Ritz, I can only assume that doing theater with that kind of improv that you kind of have to learn to keep a theatrical production going, that probably helps when you find yourself thrown into these things.
Yes. I mean, you said the magic word. It's improv. Everything in life is improv.
Yeah.
Now, when I look back, I mean, I don't recall any situation where everything went right.
Yeah.
Some shit would always happen. The wrong prop would come, the wrong line would come. God knows. And now, when I reflect and remember the times when I went to acting school, now I know why improv was the most important class we took.
Yeah.
We always wondered, why always improvisation? And yes, but that's what it is. You have to learn to not lose your cool. And when things are not going the way you want, you have to improvise.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I wish more people. Those are the kind of classes I think we should have at school. We learn so much bullshit at school, but everything that's important in life, improvisation or learning now, about the digital world, everything. They don't teach us that, so you have to learn it the hard way.
Humanity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately, with especially everyone doing their iPhones and all that, and the fact is, life itself is full of pitfalls and other things. And honestly, if anyone was to ask me that one acting class that would help, not just in acting, but just in life in general,
Yeah.
it's improv, because you have to be able to roll with the floor. If someone gives you a left, you're expecting a right. You have to know how to go with the left.
Yeah.
That's life.
Hey, you're right, and you're always thrown into different situations, especially when you're on tour. You're in different countries, and you have to learn to pick up things so fast, and try to get into the vibe of a country, the mentality. And but today I'm very grateful because now the globe is it's like a village. And you got all these crazy different people and their cultures, and I wish globally more people would be focused on that. Is getting used to this idea of we are a digital village. And maybe that could contribute to a bit more peaceful get together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Like digital
well,
village. Did you do any more directing in the theater realm?
No. Now I'm that was just a
One-off type deal.
off deal. Like I said, after I did all the theater work, I got into music, and which ran parallel. But
I only bring it up because I always like thought it would be real cool to see a taco movie or even a musical, but like a movie in the same way of like a Moonwalker that Michael Jackson did, where it like follows you on a musical journey throughout like an hour and a half movie. I thought that'd be really cool.
Yeah, it doesn't sound bad. Maybe it'll still happen, you know. Now we're more
hoping
into
for it.
small reels.
I do direct. I'll do it.
He's putting out his resume right there. So
Here's-
if you ever decide, we'll come over.
I'm over for I'm open for everything, you know.
yeah.
And no problem. It's yeah, I take on every challenge until today. And
Yeah.
like I said, now I'm doing digital stuff. I write music, and this last song I wrote with my buddy is "It's Snowing in My Heart," the very first Christmas song I wrote, and we did that whole video in his apartment.
Oh.
We had green screen. We hung those green curtains everywhere, and we did the whole thing in that room.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of fun. It was really, yeah, I kind of felt like, you know, the pioneer days, you know, when the first black and white movies, the silent movies started. Yeah, because we just had the one room, and when you're doing green screen, you know, you can't move, you know, because it has to stay. You know, we had everything pressed down, you know, and taped with the green cloth. But yeah, it was fun, and he did a really nice job of it, you know.
That's a cool. Yeah, that's a cool video. That's up on the YouTube. You guys did that a couple months back, I think.
Yeah, that was last year for Christmas. Yeah.
I love that new the heavy metal song. I love too. I thought that was great. You know what I mean? It was kind of like a take no crap, take no shit type song. I felt
It was all improv too. We
really.
just had one room, one backdrop in green, and and then and it was just like, you know, I do everything for you. You know, just move your head because you know you can't get out of the camera.
Yeah.
But that was so much fun, really.
You know, Taco. There's so much. I'm curious of what your influences were because there's the synths, it's got pop, it has like operatic to it, hip hop elements to it. You know what I mean? It has like there's also I've always felt there was like a weird like underlining almost dark theme and like a little like almost like a dark carnival-y. Some of the songs had like a dark carnival-y type vibe to it, which I love that vibe. I love it. You know what I mean? But what do you think the influences were in the creation of the music? From
Well, I'm just very yeah, very open-minded and curious. And I mean, growing up as a kid, you know, my parents, they were very flamboyant, you know, and they grew up in Indonesia, which was a Dutch colony,
yeah,
and they had to entertain themselves. And and then I was thrown out of the whole Dutch culture, Dutch Indonesian, which is my grandfather was a professional musician. So at home there was always music going on, everything from all the jazz standards to swing, pop, everything was always there. My grandfather would play you know, he'd play classical music. So this whole influence was already there as a kid. And then, of course, going to American schools, I got it equated with American songbook. Blah, blah. Then when I came to Germany, was a whole complete different scene. But we did musicals. We did American musicals in German. So by that time, I had a pretty good view about
yeah,
what showbiz is about, how you got to sell yourself, you know, bring a line, get that, you know, that one liner across so they laugh.
yeah,
Um, you know what I mean? You know, it's all about getting something across,
yeah,
and it takes time before you get into that.
yeah,
And then, you know, and because it interests me, like when you are doing silent. I love silent movies, for instance, because you don't have your language, so you have to go, oh my God, there she is, you know, what have you done to me? I mean, you have to go really over the top,
Yeah.
and then you learn that filming is a completely different thing. You got to do everything with your eyes.
Yes.
You can't use your body anymore. You know, it's
Yeah.
like just get the line across, okay? See, don't fuck with me, okay? So you you have to do everything just with your eyes.
Yeah.
And when you get all these extremes, then yeah, in the end, you're just trying to tell a story, and that's what I always try to do. It even in the videos, no matter what I do, when I write the lyrics, write little stories. That's what I've always, you know. Don't just write, Louise, I'm down on my knees, begging you, please come home to me. Something like that. That's boring.
Right.
But you know, a little story in a 2 minute song, a 3 minute song, that has always interested me.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
you're a great storyteller, man. And I wanted to bring up the hip hop thing because some of
yeah,
the way, not just the opera rap, but like there's even in like putting on the Ritz and stuff. There's ways that you flow to the beat, like lyrically. That's like boom, it's right there, and it's very hip hoppy. You know what I mean? I love it. It's good stuff.
because it just came up.
Yeah.
When I hear one thing one time, I go, okay, that's cool. You know, it's the downtown.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had this beat going, you know, dum dum dum. There's a dum 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 dum
Yeah.
dum dum. And it was
Yeah.
Nile Rodgers beat, you know,
Yeah.
and downtown, uptown, get your kicks
Yeah.
at Ritz. RITZ.
Yeah.
How about you, me?
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
good. Well, hip hop takes from like jazz and stuff.
yeah.
You know.
It's all rhythm, you know. It's all that's the whole fun. I was just talking to this Brazilian guy. That's what I love about Brazilian music, for instance. You know, learning to hang before the beat or after it.
Yeah.
It's always this. You never know, you know.
Yeah. The did you meet David Parker at Polydor or before signing up with Polydor Records?
No, the funny thing is, the first time with Polydor, I did this Eurovision Song Contest. I didn't do it. It at that time it was an author's deal, and I had done a lot of demos. So I was when I was young, I was working as a demo artist, and at some point they offered me this demo and says, "Can you record this?" And I go, "Okay, I'll do that." And they, without me knowing, they sent that to the jury of the Eurovision Song Contest, and then I got a phone later that they wanted the song, and then the authors suggested me to sing it. That's how I came into it. And if you go into German television, you need a contract. And then Polydor came to me and says, "We would like to sign you." And that way I could do this television show.
Okay.
But the hook thing was I had to sing in German. And I came to a point where I said, "Hey, listen, this was all fun, but I don't want to sing German all my life."
Yeah.
And here I am. I'm sort of like 22 years old. And
Yeah.
my first contract, it was a very good contract. And I went to the big boss and says, "Please, I don't want to sing German all my life. Can we?" And we ripped up the contract. And here I was without a record deal, and I didn't know what to do anymore.
Yeah.
And that's when I came up with the idea. I had done Chicago at the theater, and this, this whole image with the, the tuxedo and the slick look and then the white paint. I go, hey, I just seen a movie that's entertainment where with a clip in it with Clark Gable singing "Putting on the Ritz." I go, hey, that would be so cool. You take this old nostalgic music, you got the look, and then there was this whole techno thing coming up in Germany. All the electronic music, Nena, and all of that.
Yeah.
And if you could mix that with old-fashioned music, maybe that will work. And then people would forget everything you did for the Eurovision Song Contest.
Yeah.
And then I found David through his best friend, who was the bass player for Gary Glitter, and he had landed in Germany. And at some point, he said, "Okay, I'll get you together with David." And that's when we did the brainstorming. I sold him my idea, and David said, "Okay, then I got another great guy. He's much older than the two of us, but he knows that whole era."
Yeah.
And that was Werner Lang. And then the three of us sat down, and then we created this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I love it, man. You guys had a great run with each other.
yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the thing with tacos. Those you put on a taco record, you don't have to skip songs. You play let that whole thing play out. They're that good. You know what I mean? Hell yeah.
Hey, okay. We try to keep it interesting.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So when putting on the Ritz hits, was that just like a life changing thing? A drastic boom. Wow. You're off to the races?
No, because no, not at all. Because, like I said, I come from the theater,
Yeah.
so everything has its flow and
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah.
And when Putting on the Wrist came out, that's another funny story. Nobody was interested.
Really?
We had to do so much shopping around, and now here comes the funny thing. David had a joint deal with Pier Southern, one of the greatest publishing companies in the United States and internationally. And at some point, this is how the record business worked back in those days. There were many artists that put out songs, and then executives would get together in their free time and said, "Hey, listen, I got these songs," and they would go, "Okay, we'll get them out, and that's going to be a hit." And yeah, that looks good. So, and then you got other artists like me, yeah, and we got Taco too with Putting on the. Okay, we'll take it. Listen, if you bring out that and that one, you'll get Taco for free. Okay. Yeah. And that's exactly how it went. So I was just one of these. Okay, we'll sign him. We'll do it.
Yeah.
But the interest was absolutely zero. So when it came out, nobody gave a damn.
Jeez.
And it came to a point because I was frustrated, because I wanted that to be, I tried enough. And so I made a deal with another friend at RCA and said, okay, they're never going to, they're not promoting me. So I have to go to the people. And that's when I came up with the idea to go as a puppet, be carried into a showcase window of a department store. I would say, hit it. And they would play electronic music. There's actually on YouTube, there's a tape of that where I do all this computerized, there's a robot going. And then at some point, when enough people were standing in front of the window on the street looking, what is this? Then I do Putting on the Ritz. And after it, they'd carry me out of the window. And then I do an autograph session.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So that that was a minor success. And after that, it kind of trickled down and it died. And to survive, I opened a sportswear shop with my father.
Oh, yeah.
And half a year later, after everything, for me, the whole theme Ritz was over. I got a phone call from Sweden, RCA Sweden, who said, "Could you please come over to do some promotion?" And they go, "What? Promotion, Ritz?" And I thought I was dead. Yes, it's bubbling under. It's going very, very well here. I go, okay. Well, I fly to Sweden with my tuxedo and my bag, but I came there and I thought, okay, so Sweden sounds like countryside. I put on an overall. I thought that looks really Swedish. And at the airport, there's this limo. And I go, oh my God, a limo to pick me up. Okay. And at night, I had a performance in one of the biggest discotheques in Stockholm. And I looked through the window, through the curtains, and all these girls are in gowns, like in the 40s, all dressed up. The guys all in tuxedos, slick back hair. And I go, oh my God, what's going on over here, And I just had a single. I had Puttin on the Ritz and After 8 on a single.
Yeah.
And they were freaking out because to them it was, hey, this is the latest thing. I really started a vibe there. And by the time I finished, I did the flip side of the single like 6 times. Ritz, After 8, Ritz, After 8, Ritz, After 8. By the time I left that weekend, the LP had gold status.
Yeah.
Only problem was there was no LP.
The single?
There was just a single. Yeah, because it was dead.
Yeah.
So when I flew back, David
Yeah.
was there and said, Taco, we have to bring out an LP in the shortest time possible because the sales were going up. And then I swear to God, I was in his studio every day. We were working and to try to get After 8 together. And then that thing just skyrocketed. Then I flew back and then I did the whole Scandinavian tour. When I was finished there, I did everything down to Portugal. So I worked all of Europe.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was all, a bit later than, so ever since then it was, working under pressure.
Yeah. Did you tour for like 2 years? How long did you tour off of the Puttin up?
For years, because it was all jet lag.
Yeah.
I couldn't come, and the era of videos hadn't even started yet.
Yeah.
It was the same with the States. The States wasn't interested in Ritz either, but I was selling so many records in Canada that at some point, it was platinum in Canada that the United States said, I think we should bring him over to the United States. So it's been a totally crazy career because it was never, hey, we want Taco, we'll support you and all that. That's happening now, funny enough. Now I have a company who loves me and is really putting all their effort into it to, get that whole product back.
Yeah. And then you guys got out and you did Let's Face the Music.
Yes.
That is another incredible. I'd argue to say that I love those first 2 albums a lot. But I think that even Let's Face the Music, I think, is even you kind of really reaching your stride of like you know what I mean, the greatness that you guys do for sure.
Well, by that time, this is another thing. Usually, an artist is signed by a record company because they like that style,
Mm,
and you kind of have to stick to it. I always had the privilege to have the freedom to do what I want,
yeah.
to go into different styles of music. And when we worked on Let's Face, by that time, I didn't want to pursue this image of a crooner. This if you're blue and you don't know, this whole thing of megaphone sound. I said no. Now I want to do. It's kind of like the movie Singing in the Rain.
Yeah.
When the silent movie goes into
Yeah.
speakers, and many of the actors, they just didn't have nice voices, so their careers bombed. I said no. I tried to be very consequent on After Eight, with that, this typical crooning sound of the 20s. That's the acting part again. You see,
Yeah.
Let's Face, I wanted some real taco.
Yeah.
And I had the chance, and nobody to stop us. And I'm very grateful for that. And I said, hey, I want real brass this time.
Yeah.
So we had the real brass and all that, and and from that point on, I delved into a lot of styles. And we did the swing album.
Yeah.
And later on, Tell Me That You Like It, where I wanted to sing in Spanish or in Brazilian and Portuguese. And it's got to be fun. You got to stay open and try different kinds of styles. I would hate it, to stay in just one style. And I'm just very, very lucky. I'm really one of the very few who has this privilege, that he can go into all these different styles. And there's no company saying, it has to sound like
Right.
what you did.
I love it. I love it. We've had you on for a little bit here. We appreciate your time immensely and your talents, man. It really is an honor. We usually ask one last question before we wrap up. Like we said, we do the films, and we got a whole bunch of people that listen. Do you have any advice for anybody on the come up for if they find themselves in like a slump or like not quite feeling their art at the time? Any advice you would give to somebody to kind of keep them going a little bit?
I think in life everything comes to you. You can't go out and push it and say, I want this and this and that. And you have to have your dream. It's got to be there, and you have to project yourself there where you want to be. But you have to let it come to you. Life is very, very funny. The good things come to you. You have to open your heart and say, hey, come to me. It's there because you know what you want. And it's more of secretive spiritual thing. It's not something you can force. You have to. You meet. It's funny. Even today, you meet the right people, another door opens.
Right.
I mean, who knows what'll come out of this?
Yeah.
You just have to. Yeah, you have to embrace life. And meet people, and it's always been like that. You come into a certain room, or I got theater jobs through that. I would be in a cafe, and somebody would, somebody in our group would say, "Hey, we're doing children's theater this summer. Anyone interested?" Yeah, me. Okay. And from that, you come into something else.
Yeah.
You have to be open to and let it happen, and then and try to go into the circles where you want to be at.
Yeah. That's great advice.
Yeah.
That really is. You want to tell the folks? I know you're on YouTube right now, killing it. You want to tell folks where they can catch you on. You got social medias and where they can look and need it. Guys, I know the 40th anniversary right now. After Eight's going on, and we got another 40th coming up. I think with Let's Face the Music's coming soon. You got a lot of really cool stuff coming out to celebrate those things. And where can they check them out?
Well, I'm on Facebook on a daily basis, and I've got my own YouTube channel that's Taco Akersa, and people will always be informed there what's coming out. Something very exciting is going to happen soon. There's going to be a digital box of my music as very first artist on YouTube. And really looking forward to that. So yeah, look it up. It's fun. There are a lot of videos, a lot of shows which have never been shown before. The demo material that's been worked on and digitalized. It's good for the ears and good for the eyes.
Good for the soul. And good for the soul, man.
Thank you.
This has really been an honor. We've been a fan of you for a long time, dude, and you're a great guy, super talent, and we really appreciate you coming on the show. Hopefully we'll have you back again sometime. Would love to talk to you again, man.
It would be my pleasure. So, that's what I love, And if we had this possibility back in the 80s, it would have made work so much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder where it'll be in 20 years, where technology will be scary, horrifying.
Ooh, we'll all be,
I
in
think
a digital room or,
yeah.
speaking.
I think that's what it is. Instead of us being at computers, we would feel like we were in a park at a picnic or something like that, like 3D all around us.
Yeah.
3D, and you would say, what vibe do we want?
Yeah.
Should we hang out at a fireplace or at some spa or whatever?
Yeah. Well, it sounds like a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Until it's not, at least. You know what I mean? So, Taco, sayonara till we meet again.
Okay.
An absolute pleasure, man.
Sayonara. It was wonderful speaking to you guys.
It was great, man. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I'll talk to you soon.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Have a good one. And ladies and gentlemen, that was the great Taco. My God, what a fun time, man. Like I was telling him, we sat, sitting down with him was legendary. The first time he popped on my radar screen was with Puttin on the Ritz. That's a song that I literally listen to a couple times a week, even when we're not interviewing them, like straight up. Those first two albums, heavy rotation for sure. And we were talking about, just such a well-rounded kind of musical act. There's so much in it. Like I could almost it's almost you take like a Dr. Hook, for instance, which is the only way you can compare those two artists is in this way, which you'll dip into an album and you'll be like almost different genres of music on an album, but it's great, you know what I mean? And that was Taco. And it was great to get a good. I've been very interested in the career of Taco for a long time because just been a big fan. Like I said, I got that song, grabbed After Eight, got heavy into that, and then I got the next one. You know what I mean? Let's Face the Music, and just like I said in the interview, Let's Face the Music. The first album's great, and that second album's great. You know what I mean? And the rest of the albums are great too. So definitely go support Taco. Support your boys. Alex, you want to say anything in closing?
Just that it was great talking with him. Yeah, I mean, the first I saw him was the Put on the Ritz music video. I thought that was really cool. Of course, when I started looking more into his stuff, And going off what has been said is that he doesn't stay with one genre, which is just great because there's too many people I find that are either forced or just stay in one genre. And the only way I think that people can truly grow, especially as an artist, is to try different things. And he does that. And there's a song that he recently did that we didn't get to talk about called "Far From My Homeland." That
I was
he
waiting for
did.
you to bring that up when we were talking about current music videos. I was giving you the winky wink. I know how much you love
Oh,
it.
I sorry, I missed my opportunity.
Now,
Um, but
take it now.
but we'll
Take it.
talk about it now. That you go to his YouTube and check it out. Far From My Homeland is a very moving, soulful, tear-jerking song and music video. I definitely recommend checking it out. And uh, as you can see, Taco is a lot of fun, and you can see the fun that he's having doing it in his music videos. I mean, this is a guy who enjoys creating art, and he enjoys the journey that he goes on to create this art. And even though, I mean, we all know that life throws us curveballs, we have to learn to improv around it. And he has learned to do it like many of us, and done it to great effect. So I can't wait to see what he has next. I really can't.
You know what I mean? Going, still releasing music that's worth listening to 40 years later, 40 plus years later. That's quite a haul, man. 40, me and Alexander Hogman ain't going to be here in 40 years from this point that we're speaking right now. So that's to let you guys know a little, uh, you know, the longevity
Yeah.
of the stuff. And like I said, like I would love to have seen a Taco movie. I almost vibe where if you put Taco in a movie with like a Forbidden Zone, you know what I mean? If you're familiar with that, you know what
No.
I mean? No, you're not familiar with that. With now I lose my mind because you didn't. Richard Elfman, my dude,
Okay.
brother of Danny Elfman. They collaborated on a film called The Forbidden Zone in the 80s, I believe, maybe early 90s. And it was very wacky, dark. Divine, I believe, was in it. Herb Villachez was in it. And it's just a wild, zany kind of fever dream of a kind of a movie. And Danny Elfman plays a character in it where he's kind of like a devil dude, but he sings and stuff and dances, and that's Taco. In my mind, I picture Taco, so I would love to see a Taco movie, like that starts black and white and eventually goes through color, like it would transition. And there's so many cool things you can do. I really like Taco a lot as an artist and as a human. Now that we've all sat together and
Yeah.
chatted, you know what I mean, for sure. And they say don't meet your heroes. I gotta say you gotta be careful because sometimes you meet them, they're good people. You know what I mean, like Taco was. Uh, did you want to say anything else that I stifled you from on the interview? I didn't let you say.
No, no, no. I mean, just the other thing that unfortunately I didn't get to throw out there, but um, yeah, I remember growing up in the '80s. I
Yeah.
knew Taco from the Putting on the Ritz, but I didn't know a lot about him. I always thought it was a cool music video. I loved the song itself. And of course, when Matt told me that he was able to reach out and bring Taco on the show, I did a bit of a deep dive, and you know, listening to all the music that I missed that he has created, and
Yeah.
he has a great style. It's and it says that excitement and enjoyment is contagious, and you can feel that with his music. You can, I mean, as you saw, he's always smiling, and it's kind of weird saying this, but when you listen to his music, you can almost like a smile comes to your face. It's almost
Yeah.
like you just can't help but just grin, because that's just how his music is. It brings a big smile to your face. It's fun,
It's a
and
mashup of a bunch of different cool things, you know what I mean?
yeah, and he tries different things, and that's another thing that I love about it, because you gotta try different things to keep things interesting and exciting, and Taco definitely does that.
Hell yeah. So if you enjoyed this episode with Taco, go listen to more episodes. And if you want to watch, you can watch them as well. And if you want to watch deeper, support, go support the Boombastic streaming Patreon page. You catch up, you get video episodes of BoomBastiCAST that you ain't catching anywhere else, anywhere. You know what I mean? All types of cool stuff, advanced stuff. It's beautiful. Even with the boom, we're on the BoomBastiCAST. We even have our perks for associate and executive producer credits if you want to get down with the show. A lot of cool dealings up there. But definitely thanks for the support. Support Taco. If for whatever reason you are not hip to putting on the Ritz, or Taco in general, do yourself a solid for real and go check it out, because it's some of the greatest stuff of all time, man. I really love it. I've listened to it for over 20 years on heavy rotation. Just there's something about it. You can't really Taco music it's you really can't even like compare it to anything else. It's such its own unique entity, you know what I mean? And we're so pumped and excited to be able to have him on the show, you know what I mean? So go check us all out. Beware of the winners. Very important stuff. And we'll catch you on the next episode of the BoomBastiCAST.